Hello and welcome to another Thoughts per episode Doctor Who edition. Today we are going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 6, Rogue. I say 6 hesitantly because I'm pretty sure it's 6, I'm losing track. This is the Regency episode inspired by Bridgerton, except I've never seen Bridgerton, so I don't know what I'm missing here. But it has birds of prey, I guess, birds of Cos-Prey. Oh, that was awful. I might have to use that as the title to this video, I'm not sure yet. But I like the idea of this alien species, or maybe not an entire species, but this family from an alien species who have this kind of like psychopathic, murderous tendency because in order to shapeshift, they need to kill the host, and they are very, I guess, fatuistic. Is that a word? If that is a word, did I use it correctly? It is not a word. I meant like infatuated with the idea of like having a new look. I must have a new look. I must have it. And it being like, you know, no kind of moral compass, just doing anything you can to get that like most inspiring, dramatic, gorgeous look that you can get. I did notice that none of these bird people made any qualms about the gender of the shape that they chose to shift into, which is something that I think works and makes sense for a race of shapeshifters to not be attached to the idea of gender. Or, you know, not by default anyway. Maybe, you know, people have preferences or whatever, but, you know, it kind of reminds me of that speech Peter Capaldi made about the Time Lords and how they can change genders and stuff as they regenerate and how they're not really, like, super attached to one gender or another. It's cool. That reminds me as well, I also like the recontextualization of the Doctor as a shapeshifter, because technically he is, but that's not really the terms in which we would think about it. And when Rogue in the spaceship is like, I found you out, you are a shapeshifter, the Doctor as well is kind of like, yeah, I am. There's a little like geeky part of my brain that's like, oh, okay, what technology do you possess that would be able to tell that the Doctor is a shapeshifter but not be able to tell what specific species he is? But that's just me. That's a remnant of a version of me who would get very uppity about a lot of things in the Peter Capaldi series, which I need to rewatch because I did not enjoy those episodes, and some of those episodes were not enjoyable, and some of them I just gave a very harsh time for no particular good reason. Anyway, this was a romantic episode, and I enjoy a good romantic episode. I think of the Titanic episode with Kylie Minogue, who made another appearance in this episode, but not really. I was really hoping when the music was going, the Doctor would say something along the lines of, I met someone who looked just like her once. I can understand why maybe they didn't do that, because that takes away, if you're trying to build up this romantic relationship between the Doctor and Rogue, these two characters, it kind of feels weird to harken back to another romantic outing the Doctor had. Anyway, I'm also obviously very reminded of The Girl in the Fireplace. Wait, is that what that episode was called, or was that just called Madame de Pompadour? I forget. I listen to that soundtrack so much when I want to be sad that I'm probably conflating the soundtrack name with the episode name. But yeah, it's something I wish Jodie Whittaker's era tackled. Obviously, Peter Capaldi's era didn't really tackle it too much, but we did get the River Song episode at the end, which was nice. But the idea that as the Doctor goes through time and space, he's going to come across people that he kind of likes, that he wants to smooch. It doesn't have to happen super often, but it does kind of like take the spotlight for love interest away from the companion a little bit, which is definitely not something that's even present in this series. But I remember watching through, obviously, when Yoo-Hoo started, when Rose was a companion, and then Martha was a companion, and she had a crush on the Doctor. It very much felt like, oh, is this just what the companion is? Obviously, Donna Noble broke that trend to great effect. But yeah, discussing the romance between the Doctor and Rogue, I really enjoyed it. I thought it built up over a period of time that made sense. I thought it was portrayed in a fun way. You have you know, this extroverted character in the Doctor and this introverted character in Rogue, and how he's got this kind of like, ooh, brooding dark past he doesn't want to reveal much about, and actually never does end up revealing all that much about. I really hope we get to see Rogue again in the future, because I actually love that character so much. I'm hoping he's going to be a returning character in the vein of like Jack Harkness or River Song, or, you know, like those kind of extraneous characters who aren't always around but are important to the storyline and show up on special occasions. Now, this being said, I don't think it was a perfectly written romance. I think the fact that Rogue is a bounty hunter is something that they could have played more with against the Doctor's more peaceful ways, because, you know, Rogue is very much there to kill the shapeshifters, isn't he? Wait, hang on a second, he's got that trap though. Am I misremembering this? He's got a gun. I'm pretty sure he's there to kill them. And the doctor's like, no, we won't do that. We'll trap them and send them to another dimension. Yeah, that's what happens. I remember now. And Rogue just kind of goes along with it, and he even goes along with it to the extreme where at the end of the episode, where they realize there's more than one of these shapeshifters and they can only trap one of them. And they're like, oh my god, how are we going to deal with this? Rogue doesn't turn around and go, we have to do it my way, or anything like that. He's continually like, we can't deal with this. What are we going to do? And I feel like it could have made a bit more sense if his bounty hunting instincts kicked in more and he had some more arguments with the doctor, and this was, more of a romance built on, not enemies to lovers, but, just a little more conflict in there, I think would have been cool. Because at the very end of the episode, we have this fake out where Rogue's asking the doctor if he's able to sacrifice Ruby for the greater good. And the doctor's like, no, I can't. And he's like, oh, I know. And then he, the fake out is that like, oh, he's going to do it. He's going to take away the button and he's going to press it and stuff. But he doesn't. He jumps in and he saves Ruby for the doctor. But like, I feel like that little fake out there would have been more believable if there had already been that tension between the Doctor and Rogue about the ethics of dealing with this particular situation. Honestly, though, I can imagine that being a thing that was maybe in an earlier draft of the script and there just wasn't enough time for it, and they decided, do we double down on like the friction between these two ideals, or do we double down on the romance? And if they chose to double down on the romance, that's fine. It was still really good. I also just didn't really buy the final problem of it's either doom Ruby or doom the world by letting these murderers free, because I feel like there's way more variability to that second option. Instead of killing Ruby alongside, or I guess not killing, but dooming Ruby alongside these other bird people, you could also just free them and figure out another way to trap them before they get to anyone else. It's not, I don't know, it just didn't feel quite as much of an ultimate problem as it was presented as, but it's fine. Speaking of fake outs though, can we stop pretending we've killed Ruby or the companion? And I get, like, one was written by RTD in terms of Donna in the specials, one was written at the end of Wild Blue Yonder, one was written by Stephen Moffat in Boom, and one was written by Kate Herron and Bryony Redmond. But I wish there'd been a little bit more communication, maybe of like, we need to stop faking out the companion death, because A, they're not Rory, that's already a thing, Rory already did it, and B, viewers like me just get taken out of the experience, because I know you're not going to kill Ruby. Her story's not done. Like, there are some people I follow on Twitter who are like, oh my god, I screamed when Ruby got shot in Boom and stuff, and I'm like, okay. I kind of rolled my eyes. It takes me out of it because I'm just like, well, okay, that looks like there was no way out of that, but clearly she's not going to be dead, so how did she survive that? And then I'm not thinking about the episode while I'm thinking about that. My brain, I will give my brain credit for sometimes it likes to entertain the possibility. There was part of my brain going, wouldn't it be fun if they did kill Ruby here, though? And that was like a twist. And like, Rogue became the companion, and somehow they've hidden that from us. But that is when my brain kicked in and went, yeah, but the snow and the old woman, and yeah, her story's not done. I feel like I feel the same way about companion death fake-outs that other people do about, like, jump scares in horror, you just roll your eyes. Anyway, I'm working off notes here. I decided, after this episode ended, I did have time to record my thoughts, but I thought, I'm gonna let my thoughts idle for a bit. I'm going to let this one digest a little bit more. But one of my notes was, shapeshifters could have been Zygons? Wasn't Zygons. Could have been Zygons. Why wasn't it Zygons? But, it's always fun to introduce a new alien race into Doctor Who. And I think these bird people were pretty cool. And they work a little bit differently to Zygons, so... But yeah, to kind of talk a little bit about, like, the end of the episode, I already said I really hope we see Rogue again someday. I think he's proving to be a very popular character. I think it wouldn't be a surprise if we saw Rogue again someday. But Rogue does also mention the fact that he lost someone. But the fact that we never learn anything about the person that he lost, I think it would be fun if the Doctor bumped into the person that he lost. Either the fact that this person is actually still alive, or just a time in Rogue's past, and maybe Rogue's not there, but like some kind of like reveal at the end of an episode after meeting a character of, I've got to get back to my husband, he's called Rogue, he's rather lovely or something, I don't know, and then write it better than that. And then like it's like, oh my god, it's a big reveal. That would be cool, just saying. RTD, hit me up. And then you can have the Doctor fall in love with a person that Rogue loves, and then they can be a throuple. Okay, no, that's getting too far ahead. We've only just had the Doctor kiss another man after 60 years. Well, I mean, Jack Harkness kissed 9. Kicked? Oh, that would be a different outcome, wouldn't it? What the hell, Jack? You kissed Rose and then you kicked me? Anyway, do I talk about, ooh, Doctor kissed a man? No, because it's 2024 and it's not surprising. I've seen a lot of people freaking out in a good way on social media, but I just kind of hear like, oh yeah, it was cute, it was romantic, and I'm not shocked. Not that there's anything wrong with an outright overly joyous reaction, of course. I'm just miffed up we don't get more of it. I want Rogue to be a returning character, damn it. I will say to any haters who like to constantly fill Doctor Who comment sections with laughing emojis and snide remarks and stuff, if you're still watching past this point, that means you've got to enjoy something about this episode that you just saw. That's kind of gay. I mean, you keep coming back for more, so clearly you're getting something from it, right? Anyway, wind-ups aside, I also noticed that what's his face? Richard E. Grant showed up as one of the previous Doctors, and for a split second there I was like, wait, what was the deal for Great Intelligence again? Was he like a spin-off version of a Doctor or something, or what are we doing? Then I saw a little bit of Doctor Who trivia that I somehow missed. There was a 2003 animated series which starred Richard E. Grant as the 9th Doctor, and it was ignored by the series reboot, but it was a thing. And it's interesting because apparently RTD was critical of Richard E. Grant's performance as the Doctor in that animated show. So it's interesting if they are now integrating that as a canon incarnation of the Doctor, whether it's through the Timeless Children stuff or whether it's just through, ooh, I made a mess of your past kind of thing from the toy maker. It is kind of funny that RTD is the one to bring back that version of the Doctor as a canon version of the Doctor. Although this episode wasn't written by him, but obviously he would have overseen that being a thing to put into the episode. It could also just be the Great Intelligence or some shenanigans regarding that. Either way, I like it. Keep doing that shit. I just want the Doctor to one day sit back and go, man, I used to have some idea of the people I'd been, but now, man, I don't know. Richard E. Grant spin-off series 1. Anyway, gosh my, is that the time? Look at the time, I must be going to time. It's time to be a Time Lord, timing people, being old-timers in timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly fashion. Like and subscribe, bye!